Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Happy New Year's. It's 2020, and it feels weird to say. It seems fake. It's as if it's not really here, but this is where we are right now. It's 2020, and I just want to take a moment to thank everyone for 2019, for supporting Sports Talk with Broads, for listening to me on YouTube, on the podcasting app, wherever you listen to me on. I just want to thank you because it means so much. Without you, there is no this, and it means so much that people tweet at me. They follow me on Twitter. They follow me on Instagram. They slide into my DMs asking me questions about the Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers, the Sixers. They are engaged. They care about what I have to say about each game. That is so powerful to me, and it means so much in my heart. Now, speaking of my heart, that's where the Philadelphia Eagles live. They live right there, and there's a big game on Sunday. I'm excited for Carson Wentz. He has been through so much. Going down with an injury, watching Nick Foles win the Super Bowl. Going down with an injury, watching Nick Foles take that team to the playoffs. Then you're in this year where there's drama in the locker room. These players aren't performing at a high level. The offense doesn't look really good. Carson Wentz plays poorly at times, without a doubt. He was awful throughout a couple game stretch where we were questioning what's wrong with Carson Wentz. Then here comes the practice squad guys. Here comes some new life. Here comes some energy within that locker room and that culture. Carson Wentz picks up his game, and now he led this team to a playoff spot after being 5-7 and losing to the Miami Dolphins, and he gets to host a playoff game. I'm just so excited for the kid and for his growth, and for him to be able to stare at a moment like this after everything he's been through. I want to see how he handles it. And I said kid. The guy's 27 years old, so who am I? Happy birthday, Carson Wentz, by the way. It just passed. But my point is, he has been through an emotional roller coaster from being the MVP of the league, but not winning it because of injury, but playing at an MVP type level, to watching a backup play in the Super Bowl and win. It was just so much, and the roller coaster is up and down, up and down, up and down. He delivered late. He made it happen. And now he gets a chance. Now he gets a chance to shut up the critics. And I think he's got such a great mindset and great confidence right now. I'd be nervous if I was Seattle. There's so much to talk about when it comes to this game. But before we do, we need to hear a word from my sponsor, SeatGeek. Do you want free money when buying tickets? It's a no-brainer to use the promo code BROADS for $20 off of your total purchase. So you get to go to a game. You can go to the Eagles Seahawks game. You can get $20 off. You can go to a Sixers game. $20 off. Flyers, $20 off. There's no other way to do it. Use the promo code BROADS today. Brandon Brooks was placed on IR. Deshaun Hall tore his ACL on the last play of the game. It's ridiculous to think about where the Eagles are right now. So many injuries, dropping like flies, and Brandon Brooks is arguably the best guard in football, so you can't overlook this. It's a big loss. It is. And with Lane Johnson's availability up in the air, who knows what the line is going to look like at this very moment when it comes to Sunday. Is Matt Pryor going to play at guard? Is Vaitai going to move from right tackle to right guard and then Lane Johnson plays right tackle? Is Lane Johnson not even going to be able to play due to the injury? It would take a lot for Lane Johnson not to play, but there's so much that's up in the air right now. So we will talk more about what it looks like for Sunday when it comes to active players as we move on through the week. Because Miles Sanders isn't taking reps, but he looks like he's day-to-day. Zach Ertz was at practice stretching out, being there. He wants to play. And then you hear the news about the kidney issue, which is a totally different ball game and adds way more discussions in the mix. Who else is there when it comes to the questionable? Jalen Mills, also questionable. And apparently he looked pretty good at practice, being there and having a brace on, but looking decent in the brace. So we'll learn more about those guys as the week moves on. I would expect Miles Sanders to go, though. I would expect Jalen Mills to go. Ertz is the one that concerns me just because the kidney issue changes this. And Lane Johnson I would expect to play, but who knows? Who knows? The last time these two teams matched up, the Eagles had 5 turnovers. It was really ugly. It was during that stretch of horrendous football for Carson Wentz and this offense. Right now, it's a totally different team. So it's hard to say, well, look what happened last time, because the teams are just playing different football right now. Russell Wilson missed some wide open throws in that game. It could have been way worse than what it really was. Here's what is different for me when it comes to this team, the Seahawks, compared to the last 2 teams the Eagles played when it comes to a defensive mindset standpoint. The Eagles had to stop Zeke. They had to stop Barkley because those are 2 game-changing players. They will control the game if they get going, if they're moving the chains. In this matchup, Russell Wilson is the X factor, but he's the quarterback, so it's a little different of a situation. But the Eagles are not going to be scared of Marshawn Lynch to the same degree that they would be Barkley or Zeke. Their weapons are on the outside. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Russell Wilson is the biggest threat, without a doubt. He can make things happen with his feet. He's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. He is fantastic. He's where you really need to focus on. But it's just odd because we've been used to having to stop the run game over the last 2 weeks. Now, their best playmakers other than Russell Wilson are wide receivers. So I need to look at Jim Schwartz and say, how are you going to do this? Now, you can't just allow Marshawn Lynch to run and move the sticks. You can't allow that to happen. But you do need to think more about what they're going to do in the passing game because they can really make it happen. They can make explosive plays. And knowing where the Eagles are with the cornerbacks, it's a little concerning. Whether it's Sidney Jones, Rasul Douglas, Jalen Mills, or anybody else. Cre'von LeBlanc, Avonte Maddox, I don't care who it is. Jim Schwartz is going to have to be very creative with what he does. I thought there were times this year where he brought the blitz at the correct time. I thought that there were times this year where he disguised a lot of things. Pre-snap, it's one thing. Bang, the ball is hiked, and it's a totally different look. And they pull out linebackers, or they pull out players, or there's a stunt involved. Brandon Graham had a beautiful stunt in the game against the Giants. There's been so much that Jim Schwartz has done. This one, he's going to have his hands tied. He's going to have his hands full. I'm sorry, not tied. He's going to have them full. If they were tied, I'd be nervous because then he wouldn't be able to do anything. But he's going to have to really come up with something creative. Because it's not as if what he's playing with at the cornerback position is strong and elite. We don't have elite cornerbacks. They've been making plays, though, and they're at home. This team flat out plays differently at home when it comes to the defensive side of the football. As a whole, the line has been doing well. Fletcher Cox, Tim Jernigan. Tim Jernigan made a one-handed stop on Saquon Barkley on 3rd and short against the Giants. Are you serious? Vinny Curry has been doing a fantastic job at sacks. Brandon Graham has been electric. Those players have been stepping up. That needs to continue because you got to make Russell Wilson uncomfortable. Now, he can make plays happen when he's under pressure and whatnot. That's why he's so fantastic, but you still have to do that. You can't allow him to have time in the pocket and have these wide receivers get open. For these cornerbacks to succeed in this game, they're going to have help from that defensive pressure, without a doubt, from the line. The last time they played, the Eagles had Jordan Matthews, Mac Hollins, Jay Ajayi. You're just looking at a completely different team with a different personality, with guys willing to make plays. I'm excited for Dallas Goedert. I talked about how Carson Wentz is looking at a big game right in the face. The status on Zach Ertz can change how important Dallas Goedert is in this game. But as a whole, what he has done over the last few weeks totally shows that he is capable of being a stud. And he will be implemented in the game plan more, I would assume, even if Zach Ertz is in the game. They love running the 2 tight end sets. I'm excited for Dallas Goedert because we were questioning, well, what is Dallas Goedert? Because he hasn't been anything crazy. And as I mentioned, when Zach Ertz is involved, normally that's the number 1 target. That's the guy Zach Ertz goes to more. That's his safety blanket. So Dallas Goedert would take a backseat to that. It's just how it works. Cause and effect, right? But I'm excited for him. Speaking of Jordan Howard, though, as I accidentally slipped his name when trying to mention Jordan Matthews, what is his role going to be? Boston Scott has been unreal. He's been great. Jordan Howard played a very small amount of snaps last game, and he didn't even touch the ball. He was, in my guess, and in my opinion, he was dressed and capable to play last game, but I don't think the Eagles had the idea to even use him. It was just in case anything went that bad, and because it was a must-win situation. All right, you're dressing just in case. But who knows what that means moving forward? After you see Miles Sanders and after you see Boston Scott, you throw a Jordan Howard in there once in a blue moon, and that can totally change the defense's mindset when it comes to attacking him. It's just a different type of runner. Full speed, head down, thick, hard to tackle, different type of runner. But who knows how they're going to use him. Doug Pederson's going to have to be creative. I mentioned Jim Schwartz is going to have to be creative. Doug Pederson too. I was talking to Jeff Mosher, an Eagles insider, about this, and he's on 97.3 ESPN. How long can the screen pass be effective? At what point will a team sniff that out? It's worked against the Giants, the Redskins, the Cowboys. Is Doug Pederson giving the teams that much of a different look? At what point is a screen pass just going to get sniffed out? Boston Scott has been making unreal plays with screen passes. Miles Sanders can make plays happen with screen passes as well. But I just feel like as you go up against better opponents, the screen pass will not be as effective. Sometimes they do the fake screen pass and then dump it off to Dallas Goedert on a screen pass and things like that. I get why those will work. But it's just something I think about. Because it's game after game after game, the Eagles are making big plays off of it. Now, there are reasons why they set the screen pass up at certain times after giving different looks. Like, there's a chess game when it comes to this, and they give certain looks for a reason, and they throw the screen pass in there to confuse the defense when they think it's going to be something else. But like I said, good teams, good coaches, they figure that stuff out at some point. And it's not as if the Seahawks have this elite defense. They are not what they once were when they were going to the Super Bowl. They have taken a step back. They allow points. And that's why I think this Eagles offense will be able to move the ball. Whether it's Burnett making a play. Couldn't even believe it when I saw him get up. Rob Davis made a play on a 50-50 ball that got called back on Vitae. But he made a play on a 50-50 ball that I haven't seen at all this season. I couldn't believe it. The team is making plays right now. They're playing filled with confidence. And let's not act like playing at the Link isn't a big deal. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. That place is going to be insane. And I know the Seahawks know this. See, the Seahawks are coming off of a game where if they won, they wouldn't have to worry about this. They would be at home. They would have won the division. But because of that loss, it's a completely different road. And it's a tough task. This is similar, though, even though the Seahawks are banged up, this is similar to the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles matchup. When you look at it on paper, they have more skill players. They have Russell Wilson. They have better talent on paper, I would say, when it comes to the offense, at least. You look at what they've done all year compared to what the Eagles have done all year. You would think this is a Seahawks game. You would think they are the better team, that they can win this game. But that's not how it plays out. That's not how it goes. And I barely mentioned Pete Carroll yet. Pete Carroll is obviously a good coach in this league. But there is something to be said about late game situations. We've seen him in the Super Bowl fail to run the ball with Marshawn Lynch, which costed them a Super Bowl, which costed them the game. Against the 49ers, Seattle's making a push. They're making a run. They get a first down at the 1 yard line, and they take a delay of game penalty. Let's not talk about this, oh, that should have been pass interference, oh, this and that. Listen, they were at the 1 yard line, or it might have been the 2 yard line, whatever. If it was the 2 or the 1, I forget off the top of my head, but regardless, they have a chance to win the game, and they take a delay of game penalty, which pushes them back, and then they don't score. They make it harder for themselves. Pete Carroll is known to make very questionable decisions by the goal line late in games. Now, Doug Pederson makes bad decisions too. 3rd and 1 throw, 4th and 1 throw. He also tried to kick it with a 55-yarder with Jake Elliott, who has missed in that game earlier, and you should have punted the ball instead. That was against the Dallas Cowboys. Doug Pederson makes some questionable calls too. But when it comes to Pete Carroll, it's a real thing. Late in games, I don't think he is the smartest. Put that in perspective. Think about that. What if this game comes down to the wire? What if this game comes down to making a play late in the game? Russell Wilson has the ball. Inside the 10. No timeouts left. I'm just saying. It could come down that way. This is the test, though, for this team because they have beaten the Giants, the Redskins, the Cowboys. They aren't as good as Seattle. I don't think Seattle is great. I think they are a beatable team. It's similar to, I would say, the Green Bay Packers. You look at the Green Bay Packers record this year. Yeah, they won a lot of games. But are you afraid of them to the same degree as you would be afraid of the Ravens? Or the Patriots in the past? Definitely not this year's Patriots. I put the Seahawks in the same category as them. They won a lot of games. And there's something to be said about that. But they're not the scariest thing in the world either. They can be beat. It is possible. I mentioned the Redskins, by the way. They hired Ron Rivera, and I think it's a good hire. I will say, though, I think the name splashes more than what he really provides. He was in Carolina for 9 years, and only 3 of them were above 500, I believe. So he has a lot of under 500 seasons. I think he will create some sort of stability for the Redskins, though. They've been such a dumpster fire. It's a good hire for the Redskins. It's a safe hire. I think his name splashes, though, more than what he actually provides when it comes to wins and losses. He had a ton of talent on those teams. He did go 15-1 one year and go to the Super Bowl. I think he is a good coach for the Redskins. But I think his name pops more than his production does. The whole division is looking for new head coaches. That says a lot about Douglas Pederson. When the whole division is looking for new head coaches. We do have something special here. Even though he is very frustrating at times, we do love him. We do love him at the end of the day because he provides a lot when it comes to this team and with the culture and the energy surrounding it. This is a game where I think will has to play effect. And there is something going on with that team right now. They are willing. They are determined. They are focused. After the win against the Giants, Doug Pederson said in his presser, these guys are thinking about next week. These guys are ready for next week already. This is during their celebration. Now, of course, you're going to see some guys dancing in the locker room, putting stuff up on Snapchat, Instagram, going live. You'll see the excitement, but that doesn't mean they're not focused already on the next week. They know what's coming. They know. They've been here before. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Malcolm Jenkins. How did the name Malcolm Jenkins not come up until right now? That dude, the last 2 years, has played every single snap. Every single snap. The dude is unbelievable. And you have Orlando Scandrick questioning if he is a leader or not. Were there some tough moments through this year where maybe some of these players weren't their strongest, and I'm sure the locker room wasn't the best in those moments? Absolutely. But you can argue that Orlando Scandrick running around on Fox Sports to Skip Bayless and all these guys, maybe that sparked something. Maybe that created what this team is right now. Because this guy was in the locker room. This isn't just an outside noise thing. This guy was a longtime Cowboy. He then goes to the Eagles, spends time in the Eagles locker room, leaves, gets cut, and then starts talking smack about these guys. It's not just an outside source media member. This is a guy involved who went to battle with these players. So it's totally different. I'm excited for the opportunity. It keeps coming down to that phrase right there. I want to see this team go out there and play in a big moment to see what they're made of. For the last few weeks, it's been backs against the wall. So, of course, there will be more of a playoff vibe, but they have been playing with that vibe for weeks. So it might just come natural. They might just be fitted to it at this point, and we will see. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year's, as I said. I appreciate all of you so much. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I will see you next time.